Welcome, my friends, to Life Interrupts Us. It's my podcast. It's new. This is season 1, and we're excited about it. This season, we're focusing on relationships and all aspects of it. We're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about friendship. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about romance. We're going to talk about having low standards and lofty expectations. We're going to talk about fathers, parents, children. We're going to try to cover everything that speaks to the realm of relationships. But here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it with style. We're going to do it with my style. My style? I'm glad you asked. I'm a storyteller. Yes, in other realms of my life, I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, author, all that good stuff. But in this particular realm, I'm a storyteller. And boy, do I have stories to tell. Some of them will make you laugh. Some of them, they'll be tough to hear. Some of them come with lessons that I've learned that maybe you can learn. Some of them, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm gonna keep it real on this podcast so that you can know that I'm authentic, that I'm not playing around with just being another guy with another podcast, rambling on. Nah, I got some real stuff to say. I have some real lived experiences, some of them exciting, some of them devastating. But all of them are centered around this one fact. Life interrupts us all. I just decided I want to start talking about it. I want to start talking about some of the interruptions that I've had. And I've had a lot. So this season, as we focus on relationships, you'll hear me talk quite a bit about the interruptions that I've had. Things that didn't go right. Some things that did. Either way, just keep tuning in. Buckle up. Because Stephen Wayne is going to keep it all the way real. So, let's get ready to overcome the interruptions. Hey, my friends. Welcome to Life Interrupts Us, the podcast. I'm your storyteller, Stephen Wayne, and I'm excited to have this conversation with my friend that's sitting to my left. He's a friend of a friend, my friend David Lathan. He's actually my son's good friend. My son is one of the producers or the producer for this podcast, and we were having a conversation about life from the perspective of different people, and the stories that my son was telling me about his friends had me dying laughing. And so I asked if this brother would come and join us. So, David, thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here, man.
It's a
Glad
pleasure
you're
to
here.
be here. I'm
Yes,
grateful.
yes.
I'm glad you can share these stories.
Oh man,
Talk.
I'm excited. I should
Mm-hmm.
probably have some tissue, but y'all might be like, "Oh, is it gonna be a sensitive?" No, we got some stories that will make you cry laughing. But I need to tell you
Mm-hmm.
how this whole thing came about. We talked about it
Yeah.
earlier, but it's important for you to have a little bit more insight. My son and I have been going through some growing pains as
Yeah.
him being a young teenager and
Yeah.
me being an older father.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're friends with my other son, but he's a grown man.
Yeah.
My daughter, grown woman. But my youngest son, he's a teenager. And I was I was 10 years younger when they were teenagers.
Yep.
And so my temperament is a little different. My patience is not as I've never had a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
patience, but now it's even less.
Yeah.
And so while I'm working on it, the muscle that's being stretched with it is due to how I'm having to navigate with my son.
Yeah.
And I'm still like trying to find a balance to show him grace and love on him, but still be disciplined and
Mm-hmm.
help him to grow. And so, man, there was a week that we were just like, we just weren't.
Bashing heads.
Oh, and bashing heads, I know I do this. Bashing heads is strong because I'm never going to bash heads with him because he's not going to raise up to that level.
Yeah.
None of my kids have. But there's been tension, and we, me and Kaylin we're getting ready to shoot my introduction episode for this whole series and this whole season of season 1, which is relationships, by the way. Season 1 of Life Interrupts Us, relationships. Y'all hold tight to that. And so I was just in a funky place because I had just had an encounter with my youngest son, and I was mentally exhausted, and I was emotionally exhausted. And now I know there's some other things that have been going on with me that don't have nothing to do with my son. So in that moment, I was frustrated, and I shot the episode anyway. It was flat. It was honest. It was real.
Yeah.
But it wasn't how I wanted to kick off a podcast series. So a few days later, Kaylin and I talked about scrapping it. He put his producer hat on and said, "No, we don't scrap it. There's some good stuff in there. We can use it for whatever."
Yeah.
But a few days later, we were shooting some other episodes, and because originally this episode was supposed to be fathers and
Sons.
and a kid, not even sons, and a kid.
Okay.
Fathers and their children, or one of their children. Because I wanted to have a conversation with fathers, and really what that would have done was allow me and a father to bond over what we both go through.
Yeah, dealing with.
But I after Kaylin told me about some of your journey, I knew you were the guy that I needed to interview. And I needed to interview someone who actually can bring a perspective. You're young enough, you're not that far removed from age from my youngest son.
Yeah.
So you're young enough to shed some light on your generation's perspective. And I'm wise enough to listen.
Yeah.
I don't know it all. And I'm still learning this daddy thing, even though I have 2 other kids that are adults. Each child was different, and I had to deal with each child differently. And I'm older, so, and I didn't grow up with my father.
Yeah.
So those things all put together make for a real interesting, solid bowl of emotions. And so when I got ready to start talking about this episode, and Kaylin shared with me some of your stories that had me literally in tears, dying laughing, I said, if this kid tells stories half as good as you tell his stories, I gotta interview him. We gotta have a conversation. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
And I want to jump right into it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I always tell a story, right?
Yeah.
But in this instance, I've already told the story. And it was about my son. What I want to do is I want you to tell me and the folk who are viewing who you are. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
I'm David, 19, currently in college. I'm going for an X-ray technician.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to be an intervolition radiotherapist. So it's like
intervolition.
Yeah, radiotherapy.
What is that, and what does that person do?
Chemo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there a personal reason for that?
No, it was like when I first finished high school, I was like kind of in a stuck space where it was like, I don't know if I want to go to college. I was just working a job. My mom was like, you got to do something. You can't just be working. So it's like, okay, let me think about it.
Wait, your mom said you got to do something. You can't just be working?
Yeah.
Ain't working doing something? Well,
yeah, so.
Right. Okay.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, that. Then I was like looking at everything that was online. I was going through it. And I remembered having this conversation with my mom. She was like, yeah, because she works for Kaiser and she works for the union.
Okay.
And she was telling me about some case that was going on. She was like, yeah, the rad techs have like the best union benefits out right now. They have like the best protection. So I was like, the union is good. I ain't gonna get fired over nothing small. So let me go check out this.
You sure you want him doing your rad?
Yeah, so I was like, let me go do this schooling. It's about 2 years, then another 2 years. So it's like the full term of doing a tour. So I was like, let me just go do this. And it was always in my interest to do something in a medical field or science at least. So it was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. Because before I wanted to be a microbiologist.
Oh,
Yeah.
big dreams.
Yeah. So it was like, I want to be a microbiologist, but it was like, do I? So I just took a break and I was like, let me take a little break. Let me take a semester or two. Then I hop back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're currently a student.
Yeah.
You live in Pomona, right?
Yeah.
Born and bred, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just ask you this.
Okay.
What is your relationship like with your mom and your dad?
With my mom, we real cool. We're really tight knitted. You know, we be going back and forth, having our little banter. When I was younger, it was like a mother role. It was like, you can't do this and that. But now we've moved more into like a friend role.
Okay.
Cause it's always, I'm not one of your little friends. I'm not one of your little friends.
You know, I ain't one of
your little friends. So if we moved from like more of a friend role, we can talk a little bit more openly about stuff. You know, she'd be at work calling me. So let me tell you what happened at work today. So Brandy over here tripping already. It's 10 o'clock. I'm like, don't you have coworkers? I'm like, don't you have, it's right next.
Gossips with you?
Yeah, she be telling me everything. Keep in mind, Brandy right here. So Brandy over here eating all my chips. Shut up, Brandy. I'm like, man, if you don't leave this Brandy lady alone. Brandy cool. She got all her coworkers. And she just we cool. We work out together. She's been doing the gym. She's wanted to get healthier. So I go to her gym. She goes to my gym. We work out and we just talk.
Okay.
You know, she be letting me, she's like, so this happened. I would be listening to her. It'd be like crazy stuff too. And when she was working from home, she worked with the union, so she would do like union bargaining contracts. So I just be in my room and she'd be over Zoom, like bargaining. She'd be, well, Steven, I just think you're stupid. Just going full off on these people.
Okay.
And so I'd be walking past, I'll be like, hey, Steven was stupid. Tell me about it. Tell me why. I said, oh my God, I done got myself into something. She go on, all right, get out of here. I got another meeting. You was in the middle of a story. What? Tell me to get out of here. You gonna go do your job? Yeah.
So it's clear.
Yeah.
That you and your mom.
We have a good relationship. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So David, it's clear to me that you and your mom are close.
Yeah, we cool.
Anytime a parent calls and gossips with a kid, as I have done with mine, you're close.
Yeah.
So then I need to ask, can we roll back the clock?
Yeah.
You're 19, so let's roll back the clock 3 years.
Okay.
We won't even go like adolescent teen. We're going a full-blown teenager.
Yeah.
You're 16. How does your mom handle you with the chores? Like, for instance, storytelling, right? My son, it'll take him 3 hours to wash 12 dishes. And then he won't even wash all of them well. And he said to me earlier today that I suck at washing dishes. Like, it's as if he's a person that's trying to just make it because he couldn't shoot. Like, no, nigga, you just trash because you won't wash them properly.
It didn't take too much.
It just take you
actually
rubbing the
whole
dish. Like, you don't suck at washing dishes. You suck at trying to wash dishes. It don't take effort is trash.
Yeah.
So
you didn't even gotta try hard.
Right. So dishes, like, were you responsible for the dishes?
Yeah, I was responsible for the dishes. Well, I have 2 other siblings. I have an older brother and a younger sister. So like it'd be making sure the living room's clean, the bathroom, and the kitchen. So we rotate. It'd be like kitchen your week, and bathroom your week, then the living room your week.
Okay.
So
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, so it's like if you're over the kitchen, took out the trash, whatever, but like the trash was like, if it's there, you just got to, you can't just let someone who's over the kitchen take care of it. So, but at the end of the day, with my younger sister, her being like the baby and all, she ain't got to do nothing.
Well, how old is she?
She's, well, 3 years
How
ago.
old is she now?
Right now, she's 17.
Okay. Okay. So
So,
she'd have been 11 at the time. Oh
hmm
no, 15,
yeah,
14.
15,
Okay.
14-ish. So, yeah. So it was like teaching her how to do dishes and teaching her how to do stuff the correct way. Because my mom always taught me and my brother how to do it. It was like, you're going to clean the house until I can get her to teach her how to clean the house. Because my sister, you know, she couldn't put two pairs of socks together. She couldn't put two
She
pairs.
sucks at
Yeah.
putting socks together.
Yeah. You couldn't tell her she leave her shoes in the living room. Put your shoes in your room. Put your backpack in your room. Okay. Why is your backpack still in the room? Why is your backpack still in the living room? Okay. So it's like
Oh, that
she
sounds familiar.
so with her, she a little dense. But she'll get the job done. She'll get the job done. And I say
call your sister or your daughter dense, your son.
I
your
call her
brother
dense too. So, but we're cool. She do the same thing that my mom do with me. She come in my room. Let me tell you about this one friend. And
They must trust you.
they do.
Unequivocally.
They do.
That they like, we can tell David
Yeah.
our secrets.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you about this. And then she did this. And tell me why this one girl at school did. I'm like, you've been talking to me for an hour and I just been in this chair. Why are you still here?
All right, I'm not going to let you get off the hook.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the chores.
Get off the hook.
We'll go back to the chores. Then
you're messing up my segue.
Then my brother.
Because I need you to talk about
my older brother.
dishes.
Man, the dishes. It's like a war with the dishes. The biggest gripe would be the dishwasher. I hated using the dishwasher because you had to load the dishwasher. So I just did the dishes by hand. Yeah, I hate the dishwasher. People love it. Can't stand it. I can't stand the dishwasher. I can't stand the dishwasher.
Everybody in the room was looking the same way. Like,
I can't stand the dishwasher because the dishwasher leaves dirty dishes and someone takes out the dishes, I'll get blamed for it. They'll be like, you didn't clean the dishes. So the dishes was always it was a clashing of heads every week of, well, I did the dishes on this day, so it's your turn. And like we'd switch off of chores on Sundays.
Okay.
So whatever, we do chores on Saturday morning, then whatever on Sunday, the house would be clean on Sunday.
Right.
But say if somebody cooked like mid-Saturday, it'd be like, hey, I did the dishes on Saturday. It's your week now. So it'd be like, that's from your week. I'm not doing the dishes. And the dishes was staying there till like a whole nother person. And my brother hated doing the dishes. My mom would be like, come do the dishes, Joshua. Come do the dishes, Joshua. And like the dishes just be left on the stove, in the sink. He'd be like, I did them. I did the dishes. It'd be like one dish. It'd be like a cup he wanted to drink out of. It'd be a cup he wanted to drink out of or something.
So okay. So I heard a story about your stories.
Okay.
And I heard that sometimes, not all the time, sometimes your mom can get real rah-rah.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe one dish that's left in the sink after the dishes have been done.
Yeah.
How does that play out?
Usually you're in your room, in the living room, and she come, who left this goddamn dish in the sink? Why is there a dish in the sink? And it'd be, or a dish on the stove. Come up to you. So you just gonna half-ass the dishes, huh? You just gonna,
even if it's not your week?
Even if it's like, say if it is your week. It's like, so you just gonna half-ass the dishes. Huh? So you just gonna half-ass the dishes and act like you didn't know it? You left the pan on the stove. Oh, that's my bad. It is your bad. It is your bad. Go in there and do that dish. Oh my God, using all the dishes in this house. You be in the kitchen doing the dish. She over there still mumbling to herself. Fighting an endless war. Fighting an endless war in there.
I might have to have your mama on here so that we could just be fair.
Mm-hmm.
You laying her out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So your mama goes off about one dish.
One dish.
Like Joe Jackson from the Jackson family.
Yep. Then she'd be like,
all right. So here's why I asked that, right? you said that your mom showed you and your brother how to do it
Yeah.
so that your sister could learn
Yeah.
because she was younger.
Mhm.
And so it's funny. This works out that all three of my kids are in the room while we're doing this. And my daughter, we hated her doing the dishes because we knew she hated doing the dishes
Mhm.
because she would make so much noise. And at the time, we lived in a townhouse, so we'd be upstairs, and it would sound like she was at war with the whole kitchen. And I'd be like, "Yo, you come on, really? You got the noise." My son, your friend, different story. He too would take
I
all
know.
day
I know about.
doing 12 dishes. They would be clean.
They
They would be clean, but it would take him
all
all
day. I know. I
And
know
I'm like,
firsthand.
oh my God, dude, really? We gotta go. Leave the water in there. We'll come back and get it. But the youngest one, I try to tell him, this is how you should do it. This
Yeah.
is the best way to do it. But he has such a resistance
Towards
to
addition.
instruction
Oh,
that you tell him to do it left,
he doesn't.
he's gonna do it right.
Oh.
And you're like, and that's been frustrating for me.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's been very frustrating for me, and for two reasons. One, it's since we're talking about dishes, it's not that my way of doing the dishes is the only way.
Yeah.
My wife and I don't even do dishes the same way.
Mhm.
But I focus on order with certain things because I believe that there are multiple ways of doing it, but one of the ways is the way I do it, and
Yeah.
it's a way that will help you get the job done quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
You can move on with your life. And the fact that it takes him forever, and then he does a poor job with it. So now I'm coming behind him and I'm throwing dishes back
In the sink.
I'm like, okay. And now I don't rewatch that. I don't do that.
Mhm.
Because if you did that poorly the first time,
I don't want you
I
touching
don't
it again.
trust you the second time.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch them myself.
Yeah.
But I'm irritated because I'm trying to give him information that he can use, even as small as dishwashing.
Later in life.
And it's a struggle.
Nah.
And I'm trying to find this balance of grace, or what I call tenacity and tenderness.
Mhm.
Where, look, you're a young man, you're a black young man.
Yeah.
This world is designed to be against us from the gate.
Yeah.
In every way. So the smallest of life lessons can help in some of the biggest life situations. And I'm wanting to do this in a way where he can get this information, get some of this knowledge,
Mhm.
so that as he's given more knowledge about bigger and more important things, he can take that and use it. But it frustrates me that he doesn't listen for the simple things.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm wanting him to learn not only how to follow instructions,
Mhm.
but how important following instructions are.
Yeah.
Because I like building things. So like every cabinet that's in here, I've built all of that. I enjoy that. It's very therapeutic for me. But there was a time when I would do it and not read all of the instructions. And that has cost me in time, having to take things apart, things sitting unevenly,
Yep.
and hearing my wife go, "Why is it looking like that?" It's like, oh man. And then I just only to discover I did something wrong.
Yep.
And so I started going, you know what, dude, you enjoy putting it together, but why not do yourself a service instead of a disservice
And take your time with it.
and read the instructions? Follow the instructions makes it easier for you. And so that's been a frustration of mine with my son, trying to pour into him. Because here's the thing. Number one, like I said earlier, I did not grow up with my father.
Yeah.
So I never had a man in my life to tell me anything. My grandfather, I was raised with him, and he was like a father,
Yeah.
but quiet. He didn't pour into me. He just
Mhm.
showed me what a man is supposed to be. A
Yeah.
man takes care of his family. A man is loving towards his family. A man is strong and disciplined. And a man gets up and goes to work.
Yeah.
And a man will laugh with you. So we had those
Yeah.
moments, but
So how
there was
to?
not one word in all of the years of my life being underneath my grandfather where he said, son, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And so while I know I don't always do it the right way because I can get irritated
Mhm.
and be strong with what I say sometimes. I just want my kids to be okay when I'm not here.
Yeah.
And because none of us know, I mean, we just recently had a school shooting
Yeah.
where a teacher who was a father
Yep.
is gone. And it's not that he can worry about it now, but he worried about it up until his last breath.
Yeah.
I know because I'm a father. I hope I'm giving my kids enough so that whenever I'm gone,
They'll be okay.
they will be okay. Because I did not get that.
Mhm.
Now, my mom did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I turned out to be a good man, but it wasn't without a lot of bumps and bruises that I might not have had to experience had I had a man pouring into my life, telling me, hey, man, this left road will take you here, this right road will take you here.
Yeah.
And this is how you should travel on it. Now, my journey is still my own. My son's journey is his own. He's still got to find his way. But that's like saying, I want to go to this other city. I don't know how to get there. And the person says, well, I got a map. Here's the map. And they take the map and never use it.
Yeah.
That's not wisdom to me. And so I want to make sure that my kids are okay when I'm gone. It's not so that I can have this personal satisfaction to watch them make the decisions and go, yeah, he listened to me or she listened to me. No. So it's difficult, but I'm trying to navigate the feeling that it stirs in me so that it's not so wrath-filled, because I get very angry about it. What advice would you have for me with that? You're a son.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a mama.
Yeah.
Someone
My
like
mom.
me.
Yeah. So I really grew up with more of my grandfather than my father, because he would pick me up after school. I stayed at his house till my mom got off of work. You know, my dad, I predominantly lived with my mom, but my dad was like 2-3 cities away. He could have come got me, but you know, it was.
I know that story.
Yeah. So, it's really like, I hate to say it, but it's patience, because I have very menial patience when it's like, okay, let me just do it. You doing too much. You taking too long. Let me just get it out. Let me get it out your hands and put it in mine, because I want it done a certain way, and I want it done in a certain time manner. So it's really patience.
Sound a lot alike.
Yeah, it's patience, and I try to see where he's coming from a little bit, because it's kind of like, what? How do you play? 13.
He'll be 14 in a handful of days.
Okay. How many days?
Like 35.
Oh, thought he was closer to my birthday. So it's really, 13. What you got on your mind? Nothing. There's nothing up there. What are you thinking at 13?
You don't know nothing.
There's just nothing up there. One thing up there is just trying to go hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
See what's the stupidest thing I could do? How can I impress this girl right now? It's this most stupidest thing. You don't have too much going on up there, so no offense, but it's he's not thinking like 2-3 steps ahead. Okay, if I do this, then this will happen. It's like, let me do this. It's like they're only seeing their feet in front of them right now. They don't see where that step's gonna take them.
So then would you say that you were in his shoes when you were his age?
Most definitely.
And then how did your mom and or dad react to certain instances? Did it get over the top?
Most of the time, for me, it was a little bit more level-headed, because my brother, he was doing stupid stuff, so it was nothing I could top.
Okay. Okay.
When my brother was 13, 14, you know, what I was doing, it was like, I don't, it was really just like menial stuff. It was like probably getting a call home for cussing in class. He was doing,
Wait, if your brother was 13 or 14 and you were getting a call home for cussing in class, you had to been what?
uh,
How much older is your brother than you?
17 months.
Oh, okay. So you were
It was
11,
close.
12.
Yeah, he was 8th grade,
You in the
7th
sixth
grade.
grade, seventh grade cussing.
But I didn't get called home. I didn't get calls home a lot. I think I only got called home like twice. So,
2 times for cussing.
yeah.
What'd you say?
I think I called someone, I said like, you're fucking stupid to somebody. Then the other time I got called to the office, it wasn't even for that. I got a detention because it was like genuinely something stupid. It was me and a group of friends, and there was these vines on the back of a brick wall, and we were running after each other, hitting each other with it. But lucky,
Each other like slaves.
yeah, no, but here's the thing. It was all white kids. So, so the thing is, so the thing is, I was like, man, I'm finna get suspended. They're finna call my mom. White
Wait,
kid.
for hitting people with vines?
Yeah, so I was like, man, I'm finna get suspended. They're finna call my mom. Thankfully, it was with other white kids. I was the only nigga. I was the only.
Yes, it would appear that way.
Yeah, and so all I got was a detention, and they tried to call home. Didn't happen. My mom didn't pick up. Then another time I got called home was when I fought a kid and I slammed him for taking my phone.
Okay.
So they called me into the office. They were like, did you fight this kid yesterday? I was like, yeah, I fought him. Well, a staff member after school saw you fight him. Why did you fight him? Because he took my phone. Oh, that's not what the staff member said. Then they asked the kid. He was like, did you take his phone? Yeah, I took his phone. Oh. So they're looking at me. It's like,
So what did the staff member say?
Yeah, they only saw me fighting him. It was like at the end of the fight. So they called my mom, and they were like, so we have your son in the office, and he got in a fight yesterday after school. And she was like, for what? Someone took his phone. So you telling me you calling me over my son getting his property back?
I like your mama. I like her.
So you calling me? He was like, well, it's just the principle of fighting. Well, it's the principle that someone took my son's phone.
I have a motto I told all 3 of my kids growing up: protect yourself at all times.
Yeah.
Now, taking stuff, you know,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna tell you, hey, give me my stuff back, and you don't, I'm probably gonna put hands on you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell the teacher that somebody took my phone. I'm gonna handle my business and get my stuff back. My property is a part of me. You take my stuff, I ask nicely, give it back. You don't do that, then it's
consequences.
It's a consequence. So anyway, I'm aiming to press against what would be my normal natural inclination, and that is to go off.
Yeah.
And I know that I have to do that because what I don't want, let me tell you what I don't want. I don't want my son to resent me.
Yeah.
You know, even though sometimes my irritation is justified, how I respond could be different. And I have found myself apologizing to him on several occasions. I apologized to him, son. I shouldn't have said that like that. Or son, I shouldn't have said that. But because I don't want any of my kids to disconnect from me. I want them all to know that I love them and I got their backs and I'm gonna be here for them. But I have to also pour wisdom into them so that they can navigate life, because life will interrupt you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any wisdom when life interrupts you, you won't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, I teach them protect themselves at all times.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's funny. This dude won't listen to me when I tell him how to wash the dishes. But I have gotten 2 phone calls from school. Once in the 5th grade and once in the 7th grade.
Okay.
Mr. Phillips, yes, I'm calling because your son was in an altercation. Oh, what kind of altercation? He was in a fight. Oh, okay. Well, I need you to know right now, before you tell me anything, that I taught all my kids, protect yourself at all times. So I know that my kids are not fight starters. So go ahead and tell me what happened.
Yeah.
And when they tell me, I go, oh, okay, cool. Let me talk to him. And then I'll ask him, is that the facts? Yes. Cool. You did good. You protected yourself at all times. So in that respect, you listen.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, it's not about, raising punks and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about raising my kids in such a way. Life is a trip.
Yeah.
You could be at the grocery store minding your own business and you accidentally run into someone else's cart and they just want to take off.
Mm-hmm.
You got to protect yourself at all times.
Oh, yeah.
So in that respect, he listens because those 2 phone calls, he had to put hands on somebody.
Yeah.
And one of them was actually because somebody took something from him. And he said, give me my stuff back. And they wouldn't give it back. Had to do what he had to do.
It happens.
And the other time, somebody put hands on him and he had to address that. Protect yourself at all times. So it's fair to say that in some instances, he does listen.
Yeah.
I think, and this is probably for all teenagers, I think that he listens when it benefits him.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so,
it.
It's like, if I say, well, this is how you got to make $20. Oh, cool. Let me go do that.
Yeah.
If I would incentivize him and say, if you wash the dishes the way I've taught you to wash the dishes and get them done in less than an hour, I'll pay you X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
But I already buy everything. So I'm not doing that. That's bullshit. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. It's like going grocery shopping with your mom. You be like, so we can get something to eat after this?
Yeah. At home. I just put the stuff in the bag and go home and cook it.
Yeah.
Can we go to Wendy's? No, nigga.
I end up at Wendy's anyways. What do you want? Can I get you just pull up in the drive-thru. It's a no all the way home.
Come on, man.
What do you want to eat? Can we get that Wendy's right there?
So we're talking about, sibling rivalries and I was saying how, my kids never really fought. But I heard a story.
Yeah.
This is a storytelling podcast. I heard a story about you and your older brother.
Yeah.
Having fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Now, most people watching this will say, well, what does that have to do with fathers and children and all that? Everything. Because I can imagine that if I saw my kids fighting, there's some actions I would take. So what happened with you and your brother? And did one of your parents intervene?
No one was home. It was just me and him.
Okay.
So he was doing something. I called him out on it. And he was just, getting loud. I don't like arguing with people. So I'm gonna keep it calm and be like, you're doing it. You're like, I saw. Oh. Yeah, so he was feeding, we had 2 dogs. I had my dog, and then he had his. So he was out there feeding the dog, and I had class in I want to say 30 minutes. I had class in 30 minutes. I'm getting ready, and I don't hear him put another scoop in the bowl. And the whole time before I'm like, man, let me just go make sure my dog's cool. Let me go check on him. So I take a long way to go check on the dogs, and I'm just looking out the window, and he kicks my dog.
Now, when you say he kicked your dog, did he move your dog out the way, or did he Pele? Reach back.
The ladder. It was the ladder. So he did, and I called him out on it. And so he was like, I didn't do it. And he's getting loud. And he's like, nobody would want to kick your stupid fucking dog. And emotional intelligence would tell you that if someone's getting this overreactive about something, they have something to hide. So I'm like, okay, okay, you did it. That's it. Let's own up to it. So as a man, like you said, if somebody were to touch you or grab you or to pull on you.
On sight.
And that's what he did. He pulled on my arm. I let it go the first time. Then he pulled on my arm a second time, and I let off.
What's pulling on your arm for? That ain't got nothing to do with the dog.
He was like, "Come out here and show me."
Show you what?
Exactly.
Was that like what? What was show me? Like what you gonna do about it type of thing?
And he grabbed my arm, leg pulled away, grabbed my arm a second time. You only get 2 chances.
Same baseball.
Yeah. So,
pitching out here.
You know, I went off on him, and it's like, it was in the back laundry room. That's where you have to go to get the dogs. And it's no bigger than like 6 feet in width.
Okay.
And I'm, letting off on him.
Putting hands on your brother.
Yeah, so I'm in there.
Was that hard for you to do? Put hands on your brother?
Yeah, it was. Cause like after the fact, I didn't feel anything about it. It was like that, why did I do that? But at a point in time, you have to like, no, I'm not your younger brother anymore, and you can't put your hands on me. I'm not, you can't talk to me crazy.
Protect yourself at all times.
Yeah, you can't talk to me crazy like you did when you were younger, We're both grown. You're grown, I'm grown. You can't talk to me like I'm I'm your kid, essentially. So he was talking crazy, and I went off on, and we were fighting in the back little laundry room. And then I wanted to end the fight. So I had him in a headlock on the floor. I had him in a headlock on the floor like this. And
like a chokehold?
Yeah. I had him in a
chokehold. Is like,
I had him in a chokehold. I had him in a chokehold on the floor. And I'm like, if I let you go, are you gonna wild out? I'm like, are you gonna act up?
Who's talking to? If you let me go, I'm gonna find something to beat you with.
I'm like, if I let you go, you gonna wild out. I can't breathe. I'm like, if I need a yes or no. So he's saying, he's like,
George Floyd.
Yeah. So until I get a yes or no, he's still in the chokehold. Until I'm like, so it's like 10, 20 seconds go by. Yes, yes. I'm not letting him go. Because if he fires off again, I'm not letting go a second time. You just going to be unconscious on the floor.
Okay, I got to know, because obviously he's still here or you wouldn't be, you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Did you have MMA training?
No.
So how did you know what the threshold was for life or death or unconsciousness for a chokehold?
I took an anatomy class, so it's like, yeah.
Everybody be quiet. We just want all look at the camera. This nigga said, I took an anatomy class. What is this? Yes,
Yeah.
I learned how to.
No, okay. I knew how long.
Because I took an anatomy class.
I knew how long it would take for somebody to be like unreceptive.
So was you like laying down there counting while you was asking him? 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. You gonna stop it?
Tee up, tap out. You know?
Saying tap out?
No, I was like, if I let you, I'm gonna need you. Yeah, so I was like, I need you to because if he gets up and starts swinging again,
you are gonna be back where you started.
Yeah, we're back where we started. So
okay,
I left the house, and he was breaking stuff, and I called my mom about it. My mom's at work. I'm like,
wait a minute, hold on. You see, you running through this story like you running 100 yards. Breaking what?
Picture frames, glass. It's around the house.
So he turned into the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
And started. Well, see, the little bit that I've heard about your mama from you means your mama ain't playing that.
Yeah, but I called my mom. I told her what happened. She works in Brea. She got home in like 10 minutes. She got home in 10 minutes. So she was like, what's going on? I told her the situation. And the thing is, I left the house, but my shoes were in the house. And I was just I had to drive to my grandma's house. So I was in my grandma's house, no shoes, driving with no shoes on.
You only had one pair of shoes at that time in your life?
No, I have multiple pairs of shoes. It was just the shoes I was wearing. When I was fighting, the shoes came off.
You fighting in some Crocs?
Yeah, I was. Some Crocs. It was.
And see, that's why I say you don't do nothing in Crocs but walk in and around the house.
Yeah, so that's what happened. And so came back home. I told my mom situation about it. She was like, who broke all this glass, this, that, and the third. She was like, oh my gosh. But my main concern was going to class. That was still my main concern at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I had to get to class. I was taking them no missed participation points.
What do you say to that? Yeah, I just whooped my brother's ass.
I'm here.
I'm gonna make it. I made it.
Yeah.
Sir, you got blood on your shirt. Don't worry about it.
Nah.
It's salsa. I stopped at Del Taco on the way to class. Got a little drizzle on my lip. So yeah. 𝐬𝐮 did not share those details.
Yeah.
Your brother tore up your mama's house because you whooped his tail and put him in a Roddy Piper, Undertaker, Seth Roddy, you know what I'm talking about, chokehold.
Yeah.
Was that the last fight you guys have had?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
He said, no,
Yeah.
I better not mess with my older little brother no more. Or my little older brother. What's up, dog? You good, right? How did you guys resolve that?
So like my mom called my grandma, my godmother, my father, and like we had like a talk about it. Like in the living room.
So your father came over.
Yeah.
All right. So now, again, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Man, this is wild, but I gotta know how this was resolved. You said that your mom called your tribe together, your grandmother, your father. You had said earlier that you hadn't spent a lot of time with your dad.
Yeah.
How long had that been a span? Like since you were a little boy or since you were a teenager?
I would really only see my dad like on the weekends.
Okay.
But you know, he was down the street from my high school, from my elementary, all that stuff. So
okay.
And at a point, like in my freshman year of high school, I was with him a week and I was with my mom for a week because he lived right across the street from the high school.
Okay.
But then that fizzled out. He moved to like a different part of Upland. I was just staying with my mom full time.
Right.
So like I really wouldn't go over to his house too much. I like really at all for like my whole high school career, really.
What kind of relationship do you have with him?
Right now, we're not on too much of speaking terms. There's
a story.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story.
We got time.
Yeah, so the story happens because of my brother.
The Tasmanian devil that tears up other people's things and assaults other people's dogs.
So this all happens because of my brother. My mom calls me and him, and she's like, okay, I'm just going to tell you. She's like, I feel like I have this conversation with you guys a lot. I want you to pick up after, stop leaving dog food on the floor. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go sweep it up. And she's like, she was like, your brother wasn't here today. You could have taken out the trash. She was talking to my brother. She was like, your brother wasn't here today. You could have taken out the trash, but you weren't taking out the trash. So they're in an argument going back and forth for like 10 minutes. I'm just sitting there in the kitchen. I'm like, can I go now?
When you picked up the dog?
Yeah, I was like, can I go now? And they're back and forth. And then she was, you don't do too much around here, Joshua. It's like, I feel like I have to tell you to do stuff over and over and over again. And he's like, well, what do I do around here if I do nothing? So don't ask me to do anything. Then it got escalated.
That nigga's getting knocked out.
It escalated to like a screaming match almost. So my brother.
Wait, and you still just sitting there?
Yeah, I'm still sitting here. And you pull like the one thing you don't pull in a black household. I'm gonna kill myself.
So he said that
to my mom.
Okay.
She's like, Cause as a mom, what do you say? All you can say is, So
my God.
He runs to the kitchen drawer, grabs a knife, runs to our room that we share. My mind is, not my room.
not my brother.
It-
Not my room.
It was not my room. What is he
Blood
doing?
everywhere.
You know, I'm like, okay, now I gotta go calm him down. Let me go check on my brother. So I go in there, calm him down, get the situation figured out. He leaves the house. She leaves the house. She's calling me. She's like, I had to get some air. If he's not allowed back there anymore. Cause like that was her final straw with him.
Back there as in back in the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, that's my final straw with Joshua. Cause they've been in a lot of arguments where he's been kicked out the house and let back in.
Okay.
So this is like the third time this has happened. So this all happens, and he texts my grandma. She was like, I'm sorry it had to go like this. So now my grandma is like, okay, what's going on?
Wait, who said it? I'm sorry. Your grandmother or he did?
He did. He said, I'm sorry it had to end like this.
Oh, bless his heart.
Cryptic ass message. So I get a call. She's like, where's he going? Where's he at? And he walks back in the house and grabs some stuff. And she's like, follow him. Make sure he doesn't do anything. My brother, so I had to get in the car, follow my brother. And my brother drives real reckless.
Mm.
So he
sounds like he might actually be suicidal.
Yeah. So
we'll deal with that at the end.
Mm-hmm. So he's driving real reckless his whole driving career. I think it's like 6 months in his license, he already had an accident in my mama's car. Yeah, so that's the way 6 months into your license to have someone not let you drive their car no more. So I'm trying to follow him, and I lose him. My dad's calling me. She's like, so what happened? I tell my dad the situation, and he's like, okay, let me call your brother. And I have him on three-way, and my brother's like, I just can't be in that house anymore. And he's just telling my dad, like, the situation would happen. And I'm also telling my dad, like, you know, what actually happened. So, I can't find my brother. He's like, yeah, I'm at the beach. We're on the freeway for like 10 minutes. I'm like, how is he at the beach already?
This leaving Pomona?
Yeah.
Maybe he was thinking he was at Puddingstone. He was at the beach at Puddingstone.
Man, so my dad's like, at what beach? And my brother's not saying, so I'm another 10 minutes, I'm already at the beach now. It took me 20 minutes to get to Huntington. I was flying on the freeway.
Your whole family be breaking the rules.
Yeah, so I'm in Huntington. He's like, I'm just going to get some air real quick. And so he was like, okay. Then my mom calls me back. And then we have like a little disagreement on something. And she's like, if it's a problem, don't come back. So I thought like she was kicking me out too. So I go back to the house. I get my stuff. She's like, give me your phone. But I go to my dad's house in San Bernardino.
So she was kicking you out.
She worded it. She was like, oh, I must have worded it wrong. I wasn't trying to kick you out.
Oh, okay.
She was like, it wasn't me trying to kick you out. I was wondering why you even left in the first place. I was like, that's what you said over the phone. She was like, oh, that's my bad then.
By the way, you know Brandy was tripping today.
She'd be like, Chrissy in here, she wanna eat my chips. I'm like, you Chrissy best friend. You Chrissy and Brandy best friend. I know, they my best friends too.
You're gonna be in trouble.
I know.
When your mama see this, you're gonna be in trouble. So your dad. How does this thing happen to where you and your dad are not talking right now?
I call my dad to pick me up from my mom's house with like my stuff, my bare essentials, like a couple pairs.
That your mama has put you out.
Yeah, so bare essentials, like a couple pairs of clothes, my MacBook, stuff like that because I have class starting in a week. It's like, I think it's maybe Wednesday this all happens.
Okay.
So from Wednesday to Thursday, I'm at my dad's house. So like a week and a couple days.
Even after your mama told you she didn't mean.
Yeah, so we kind of got it resolved on like Tuesday. She was like, "Oh, it's cool. You can come back." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay here for a couple more days because I have class." So from like I was going from class Monday to Thursday, but I didn't have a car at my dad's house, so I had to try to use his cars. And he has a couple cars, but I'd be like, can I use your car to go to class? And he'd be like, I have to see about it. Does it have gas in it? I'm like, no, I can put gas in it if you need. And he'd be like, here's $20 to go put gas in the car. I don't know what $20 is going, I'm going from San Bernardino to Chino.
One way.
So I get to class those 4 days, and it's actually Friday. I tell my mom, like, she's like, are you good over there? I'm like, she's like, I can send an Uber. I was like, can you? Because he had no AC on his house.
Lord have mercy.
We're in San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
Yeah, so I'm burning up in that house, burning alive. So I get an Uber, I leave. Like my only form of text message was my MacBook. So
where was your phone?
My mom had it. Yeah, my mom had my phone. My cousin on my mom's side lives like 10 minutes away from my dad, so I'm over at his house for a little bit. I'm telling him the situation that happened. Then my mom gets off work, come pick me up, then we go home.
So I thought she was gonna send an Uber.
She sent an Uber to my cousin's house because my mom was just gonna come from work because she was at work right now. And my sister, I don't know where my sister was.
She probably somewhere minding her own business.
Yeah,
so like
probably.
That going on.
Yeah, so she was then you get picked up, go home, we talk it out, and so my brother was supposed to come today to come pick up his stuff, and he didn't show up. So we're like, okay, where are you? So I share a room with him, so I'm putting all his clothes in bags, I'm putting in like his stuff so it'd be easy to access. And my mom's like, I don't want him stepping foot in the house. So we have a car, we put all his stuff in the car, but we put the car in the garage. So, nothing happens to anything in the car. So he shows up, so it's like like 2-3 weeks go by. It's like a Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Knock at the door. I'm like, who's at the door? So I open it up, it's police. It's like, yeah, we're here to retrieve Joshua's stuff. Josh doesn't live here. She's like, is the homeowner here? So I get my mom. He's like, yeah, Joshua needs to come get his stuff. He's like, Joshua hasn't talked to me about that. Joshua was supposed to come 2-3 weeks ago to come get his stuff.
Wait a minute. Are you confused? I'm confused. Wait a minute. Weeks have gone by. Your brother's not there. And then the police come to get his stuff?
The police was there for, a protection for Joshua.
Did he file a restraining order against your mama?
No.
So how do we get police escort unless we're being escorted by the police?
So the police come, it's like, yeah, Joshua's not here. The police are like, what do you mean Joshua's not here? He hasn't lived here for like 2-3 weeks. Huh? So he calls like dispatch, and he's like, oh, Joshua's on his way, I guess. So we move the car out the garage, and we tell the police officer all of Joshua's stuff is in the garage, in the car.
Is it Joshua's car?
No, it's my mom's.
Okay.
It's like it's a 𝐬𝐿, but you can put a lot of stuff in there. So it's like, stuff's in the 𝐬𝐿, it's unlocked, get all your stuff out of there. So it's like his clothes, like shoes, stuff like that we only put in there. Like things that are not of superb value. So we have like all of his computers, like his valuables inside the house.
Okay.
We have it by the door. And it's like, well, where's my computer? It's like, we left it inside the house and we're gonna bring it to the front porch so he doesn't step foot in the house.
Okay, so how do the police get involved here?
He called the police like as a form of protection from my mom. I don't know. My mom turns 51 this year.
Well,
He's 21.
I would think that you and your mama jumped on him.
No.
He's scared of both of y'all. Okay, all right. So the police come, they help him
get the situation.
He asks about his computers.
We bring it out there, and when he was living there, he had my dad's air compressor to like clean out his car and stuff. So he's like, there's my dad's air compressor inside my mom's garage. So he opened the garage, and I'm in the house getting stuff to bring to the front porch. I'm just hearing yelling. So I go to the garage, and I'm seeing what's going on, and they try to, my mom and my dad are going at it.
Oh, so your dad is there.
Yeah, my dad's there as well.
He wasn't initially.
No, he pulled up after Joshua came.
After the police, here comes your dad. Oh, this is weird.
So, my dad and my mom are going at it. My dad asked me a question. She was like, "Didn't your mom tell Joshua to kill himself?" Because I told my dad the situation of Joshua, and I'm standing there, and I've, this is 3 weeks of this, nonsense. I'm hearing people say this about me and this about me staying at my dad, when I was staying at my dad's house for that week, he said I was eating everything in his house. I was there for 6 days, ate 4 meals.
He was fasting.
Out of my pocket. Not his, my pocket.
Oh, man. Yeah.
My pocket.
Something about San Bernardino, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
For
so.
those of you who are from San Bernardino, I don't even apologize.
No, that's a terrible city.
Something about it.
Yeah, so.
Water. Once you leave the it's a wrap.
Yeah. Leave that top part of Fontana. This is nasty over there. So
now your daddy is asking you to corroborate his story.
Yeah, so.
After he has spent weeks lying on you.
Yeah, saying, okay, I didn't even tell this part. I missed out. Okay, so I'm at his house, and I just turned on the water. And he says, "Are you going to take a shower or just keep running my water?" I'm in the shower for like 10 minutes.
Ooh, well, 10 minutes is a lengthy shower for folk who monitor water.
Yeah. I'm not like, I don't have a lot to wash, but I like to smell fresh. I don't like to get out the shower smell. Yeah, get like a serious wash. But I was like,
Man.
I was sitting there, I went, huh? You go take a shower, run my water. Let me get out this goddamn shower.
Okay.
So I, get out the shower. I'm sitting there and then go to class. There's nothing. So back to the current topic of
the police.
Yeah, to the police and my dad. And I go,
the police still there?
Yeah.
Doing this
this is in the garage. My mom and dad are going at it. And the police is like right to the left of my dad watching him. So my dad looks, he's like, "Didn't your mom say this?" And I'm tired of it at this point. I'm like, don't involve me in this anymore. I said, I don't want to be a part of this. I've been a part of this for the past 2-3 weeks. I'll just walk away. And so my mom's like saying, I want him off my premises. And my dad's like, "Come here."
Talking to you?
Yeah, he's like, "Come here." He's like, "Come here now, David." And I'm like, I'm not going to come to you. I'm a grown man. I don't have to listen to you anymore. We're not at your house. I'm not listening. I just leave. I'll go back inside the house. Because he tries to like undermine you and treat you like a child even when you're grown. So it's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. So he was like, he's on the sidewalk in front of the neighbor's house.
He's left the property.
Yeah,
now.
he's on the neighbor's house driveway because he couldn't be on like the property line. And he's like yelling at me. He's like, "You're a coward." This, that, and he's like, "You're a coward. She chose the wrong son."
Oh.
And then my sister told me about that one. She was like, "Yeah, I overheard Dad say you're a wrong son. That And I'm like, I don't care. Cause like he's been calling me that my whole life. He's like, "You're a coward. You're never gonna amount to anything." So it's like, I've never had like a super close relationship with my father, but we've talked. Okay. We were able to.
So I got a beeline based on that. I want to know, how do you think that echoing voice has impacted you as it pertains to where you are in your life?
Well, it's been a lot of that, because I would only be on him like on the weekends and like stuff like that. He told you a story, I'll probably get into it too. But like when it was with sports, he was there. He was front line and center. Anything else, it was like a backseat.
Okay.
So it was like school. Yeah, if you're doing your work, it's whatever. If you're passing the class, it's whatever. But like he predominantly like wanted me being sports. He would always try to insert himself in like my sport, like whatever I was doing at the time. it's like I just wanted this to be about me, you know. But like having you on the sidelines or like you in my ear as the coach, it doesn't help. And like you wanted to be overly involved in something I'm doing.
Okay. But would it help if you had a more balanced relationship with him?
Probably.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's just tough. I can imagine to hear that when you've not, it doesn't sound like you've gotten a lot of beneficial things from your relationship with him.
Yeah.
Here's why I asked that. So, shoot, let's see. Milana's 24, so 20 years ago. Actually, yeah, the year 𝐾𝐨 was born. That was the year that or actually before 𝐾𝐨 was born was when I put out my first music album.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I had been working on music for years.
Yeah.
There's a 4-year difference between Milan and 𝐾𝐨. I had been working on music since before Milan was born, but I had never put anything out.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why is that there was always this phantom voice that said, "You're a failure.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna be good at it.
It's not gonna work out.
It's not gonna work out. Who's gonna buy your music?
Yeah.
There's so many people better than you."
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because I never told anybody back at that time
that you were
that
making
I was
music.
contending with these voices.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally did, I was talking to my therapist.
Yeah.
And he said, "You want a dad so bad that you would even take one that speaks down to you for the fear of not having one at all." And it became the ghost because the absence of my father's validation only served to signal that since I didn't have his validation, this must be how he felt about me. And I walked with that for years. I was always the best at something, but I would downplay it because I was afraid that I wasn't going to be successful. And when I finally decided to face that voice, give reverence to the power that it had possessed, but not the power that it had to have, it allowed me to start chopping down some things in my own life that it was weird. I could be anywhere. I could be at a restaurant, I could be in a hotel, and I would swear that I saw my father. And people started, because I hadn't seen him, I had only spent, and this is a whole other podcast, I had only spent 3 days, or 2 days technically, with my father my entire life when I was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And those days were not completely just me and him. So my father, you know, his absence, that the time that I spent with him was all that I spent with him.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I didn't have a point of reference.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a point of reference, people do one of two things. They either glorify the unknown,
mm-hmm.
or they demonize it.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time with an anger that I didn't know for years why it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding, once I started understanding why it was there and the fact that my father's absence had everything to do with it. But also that his the absence of the voice of validation, the voice of you're good, you're gonna be okay, um, I got you. All those things that kids are supposed to get, I didn't get from him, and it left a hole that other voices were, some people will say, "Oh, it sounds like you're schizophrenic or something." No, I had an imagination that took on a real space in my head
Yeah.
about what I wasn't, and it took me a long time to know that those voices were not telling the truth,
Yeah.
um, and that even without his validation, I was still okay.
Yeah.
And it honestly is something that I'm still navigating through. So yeah, I put the music out, and then after that, it was like a flood. It was unleashed. The
Yeah.
dam had been broken, and I was cranking out music left and right, putting out music, putting on events. I was like going. That voice was not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I decided to do this podcast, the voices returned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, there are already a million people doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Why yours gonna be any different? How are you gonna be successful? You got seven-figure earners. You got people who are doing podcasts for a living.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna be special about yours? Don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. You can't even get 50 people to like a post.
Yeah.
Those are the voices.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say that some of those voices were my own.
Yeah.
Some of them were the ghosts of what I would have thought my father was saying, since I didn't hear him say the other things. And I found myself, that's part of the reason why it took me 2 years to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, not the whole reason, but part of the reason. But I had to face that, and it was like, wow, okay, there's a chance that ghost of what I didn't get might reappear again. So, I'm listening to your story and listening to you talk about your dad and being able to relate to that gives me pause to caution you.
Mm-hmm.
Do whatever work you need to do for you so that you can navigate when life interrupts you that way, because it will. It
Yeah.
will. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
And you'll have to take ownership. I wish that I had somebody when I was your age telling me what I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't. It took me years to go through enough crisis to get some counseling to discover the source of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm encouraging you, and I've had a great time listening to you tell the stories about your mom and your brother and craziness. But at the end of that, what's real is that you, like me, didn't have the father you should have had. And yours is still alive. Mine is gone now.
Yeah.
And I never got a chance to have the father I should have had. There's hope that you might, but in the meantime, there's work that I encourage you, David, to do for yourself, so that as the higher seas come, you know how to navigate them
Yeah.
and not be overtaken by the waves. My father's absence was earth shattering in some ways to me, and it's funny. My father would, I don't know if your dad does this, but and something about San Bernardino, I think. My father would pop up in my life at various moments.
Yeah.
just randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Like on my 18th birthday, I ran into him on sheer accident. We happened to be in San Bernardino. And my mom said, hey, I think that was your dad. And he saw us. We were passing cars. And he saw us. And we stopped. And the first thing he does is start promising stuff. You got a car, son? Yeah, I have a car.
It's very.
I'm gonna give you this car. And it was a nice little cool sports car he was in. And
I had a real similar situation.
yeah, so initially, because by this time I hadn't seen him or talked to him in 5 years. And the last time I saw him and talked to him, it was a very disappointing experience.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm like, oh, nigga, whatever, man.
Yeah.
But my
false
heart,
promises.
My heart is saying, maybe this is the time.
Yeah.
And so I waited for the phone call.
Never
I
came.
didn't really care about the car. It was a nice car.
Yeah.
It was flyer than the one I had. But I didn't care about the car. I was longing still for him.
Yeah.
I didn't hear from him again until I was, let's see, 30? No, 27, 26. That was like almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And he called me with this cocky voice. You know what this is?
Shut up.
I know who you are. What do you want?
Yeah.
And it was like, for everything that I ever did that had any kind of monument to it, he always wanted to take credit for it.
Yeah.
I had just opened a salon when he called, my very first hair salon.
Mm-hmm.
So he called because he heard. And I'm like, wow, so you've been keeping tabs on my life, but you don't call me.
Yeah.
Until you can call me with a boastful sound as though you did something. When I was 18, and later he found out that I was going to UCLA. I found out he was telling everybody in San Bernardino that he put me through school. Like, dude, you never gave my mama a dime a day of your life. What are you talking about? So those things built up a fire.
Mm-hmm.
David, do not let that fire consume you.
Yeah.
It has consumed me in ways that I wish that it hadn't. Now, it's there now. I acknowledge it will probably always be there. However, I have greater control over the fire, but I didn't want it. I never wanted it. I certainly didn't need it.
Yeah.
But man, your story, I have laughed so much with you, but we've turned such a sharp corner because I know where you are and I know what you've faced. I have faced it without the same amount of hoopla because your father called you a coward. I don't think you're a coward, but my father certainly was.
Yeah.
He was not one for confrontation. So he would run the other way with every responsibility. Yeah, a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not saying this, as we were doing this podcast to demonize him. By the time his life was coming to an end, he and I had reconciled.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of the time back.
No.
But we had reconciled. Not only had I already forgiven him, but I got a chance to serve him before he died. Yeah. And to take care of him for a day, which was really a powerful experience. But still, I would have preferred to have had him in my life, but he couldn't be in my life. Who he was couldn't be in my life because it would have tainted my life. Yeah. And perhaps the space that you're in with your dad is better for you because of who he is. Yeah. But do the work. Yeah. Take on whatever work you got to do to make sure your heart and your mind are in alignment about being the best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah. Despite those voices. Because see, unlike me, you've actually heard them. Yeah. Audibly. Yeah. They were real. Mine were a figment of my imagination. Yours have been real, and I can't begin to imagine how painstaking that would be. Yeah. So now let's turn another corner. Yeah. Because that was really heavy, and I need to know you. By the way,
Yeah.
you've helped me with the most simplistic thing when you said when I asked you what advice you have for me, you said patience. Um, I've heard several people tell me that, but to hear it come from a young person, um, not only speaks to your own wisdom because you definitely have to have wisdom when you tell someone
Yeah.
you need patience, but just the way it was, it's almost like sitting here with my son.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to be your father. Um, Heck, I'm not even old enough to be your grandfather, which is crazy. But having said that, I want you to know I appreciate
Yeah.
your insight in that regard. Um, you know, again, my motive for inviting you over was one to hear the story. And man, there have been some stories,
Hmm.
and I know that you have not touched the surface yet
Nah.
of stories. But also, my hope would be because I don't know you,
Hmm.
and Kaylin has only shared. I mean, he shared great things about you, but all he's talked about outside of your friendship is the stories.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that there were more layers to who you are. I do now.
Yeah.
I expect that we will be in each other's lives because you're my son's life, and I want to be in the lives of the people that he's
Yeah.
in lives with. But also because I was hoping that this conversation would organically expose what it
Yeah.
has exposed. You know, whatever that was going to be. I had no working knowledge of, yeah, if I ask the right questions, I'll get him to tell me about,
Hmm.
you know, his disconnect was that because I didn't know you had a disconnect with your dad.
Yeah.
And I certainly didn't imagine that I was going to talk about my dad.
Hmm.
But this is good stuff, man. This is good stuff. Um, but now I don't want to leave us there,
Yeah.
right? So I gotta ask, um, what's happening with your brother now?
Uh, he lives by himself. He lives in an apartment. So I left because it's like the first time I stayed with my dad in like maybe 6 years, right?
Okay,
So it's like first time I stayed with my dad in 6 years, and it's like he was like it's gonna cost $700 to stay here.
your dad
Yeah, he
is
was.
going to charge you seven
Yeah,
hundred dollars.
yeah.
Okay.
Because he was like, because he owns like apartments and he has one like attached onto his. He's like, I'm gonna charge you $700 to stay here.
So wait, so you it would be your apartment
It'd be me and my brothers.
to wait,
Yeah,
you and the brother that you have fought and
yeah,
choked out
yeah,
would be
yeah.
paying 700 together or 700 each?
700 together.
Man, tell your daddy I need a place to stay. It's 350.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he was like, it's gonna be 700, and I was like, I just can't do that. You know, it's like to me it was like I haven't stayed with you in over 6 years, and you just can't give me a place to stay.
Mm,
You haven't paid a bill, a medical bill, new shoes, new clothes.
yeah.
Like I've had my own money since I was like freshman year, and I've just been buying my own clothes, buying my own shoes. My mom's like, "You need a new pair of shoes?" Sure, but that's like I'm really just been buying my own stuff since like freshman year. So it's like you haven't done any of that 6 years, and you wanna this is I'm giving you this at least. That's practically what he's
Well,
saying.
I'm giving you.
Yeah,
Charging you.
yeah. It's like it was like you said. Your dad was like, "Oh, you're gonna have this car," and my dad was like, "Once you get a job, like when I was younger, he was like, if you get a job, I'll give you a car. At least pay his car insurance." Okay, I got a job. I'm like, I get a job, and I tell him, "Hey, I got a job now. Oh, I'll get you a car in a little bit,
A little bit never
a
changes.
little bit more. Oh, just I'm gonna get you a car. I can get my money right real quick. A little bit more time came. Oh, I'll get you a car in a little bit. Then I I have my license now, and then he gets my brother a car. He gets my brother his old car. So then my grandma gratefully gave me her old car, but my brother was using it before me. So it was like it was a nice car. I'm grateful for it. I'm never gonna undermine it. But this situation happened, and then he was like never brought it up again.
Is it your grandmother? Is this your father's mother?
No, my mom's mom. Okay. So he never brought up him giving me another car again, like at all. He was like,
well, you got one now.
Yeah, he was like, then my brother got his car stolen, but they got it back. So my dad took the car back and gave my brother another car. So I'm still, I'm like, okay. It's like, it's whatever. I'm not holding on to a false dream, not false hope. So it's like, I have this, I'm not tripping off nothing. You keep it. You keep the car, you keep your money. Because I don't know what comes with it. You might be like, well, I gave you a car. If you wanted to talk to me about a car for the rest of my life, I don't want it. If you don't come with something, come with good intentions. Don't come, well, I gave you this. I'm not going to bend backwards over for you. I'm grateful, but if this is all you got to say for me and make me do stuff for you, I don't want it. Why would I want a bad intention with it?
So how long ago was that? Was this recent?
No, he was been saying this since I was like a sophomore.
Okay. So
it's been like sophomore year to now. Then I got in a car accident, and then my mom had she has like 2 extra cars, right? So I'm driving one of her cars, and he's like, "I'll give you some money for a car." He's like, "I'll just give you like $4,000 for a car."
What do you mean give you? Like, is he buying your mother's car for you?
No, he's like, I'll just give you.
To fix it or?
No, it's like, no, I got in a car accident with my last car, right? So he's like, okay, the car got totaled out. They gave my mom the money. And he's like, I'll just give you $4,000 for a car.
Oh, for a car?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is the car I want. It's in the budget. I have, this is the money for it. Oh, let me get my money right real quick.
So what he really meant to say was, I'm gonna give you $4,000 for a car when I get $4,000.
Here's the thing, my brother, he has a car, but gave the car back to my dad, and he got another one. My dad gave him $4,000 for the car.
That's right. Your dad said your mom.
Wrong son.
Wow. Okay.
And like me and my sister joke about it, cause it's funny to us.
All 3 of you have the same father?
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and my sister, we joke about things that happen to our lives. It might be traumatic for others, but it's like funny to us. So she'll walk past and be like, "Wrong son," and we'll just die in the hall. We'll just crack up in the hallway. She'll be like, "Wrong son." I'll be like, "Shut up." And it's funny to us because we've had to learn from like super young that his words don't mean anything to us. Because it's been the whole life since I was young. And I was young, it was like 1st grade. I think he told you the story. But it was 1st grade and I got a D on a test.
No, he didn't tell me the story.
So I got a D on the test, and my teacher calls my mom. And my mom was like, okay. She calls my dad. So I'm at my grandparents' house, waiting for my mom to get off, and there's a knock at the door. And it's my dad. Keep in mind, like, my mom's like, call my grandpa. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get off late. I'll be there to pick up the kids in a little bit." My dad comes and he's like, "Where's David at?" I'm like, "Oh, we're going to your house?" No. So he picks me up and he takes me like to an alley. Yeah. Takes me to an alley. So if you find out your son got a D on the test,
yes.
are you he gets a D on the test. Yeah, so he gets a D on the test. You're not gonna be like, okay, maybe he got like dyslexia, maybe he got like, it's a spelling test at that. Okay, what can I do to help him? Let me take him to this alleyway real quick. So you gonna
this is so not funny.
It's funny. It's funny. It's funny.
It's not funny.
It's so you can laugh. So he's like, "So you gonna fail a test?" And he's going off on me in this alleyway. He takes me out the car, and I'm like, "How are you? Like 6'5", 5 or 6, right?"
No older than 7.
He has me. So he has me by my collar against a brick wall like this. So you just gonna fail a test, huh? That's all you gonna do is just fail a test? You gonna be a bum? And drops me, like lets me go. I hit the ground. Takes my shoes and shirt off my body. And I have to walk back to my grandma's house. While he's in the car watching me.
How far is the walk?
Like a block and a half.
But you're 6.
Yeah, it's
or
nighttime.
5.
It's night.
Oh.
So I get to my grandma's door.
And you're in Pomona.
Yeah. We in the alleyway at that.
It's the alleyway of Pomona.
So go back. Get back to my grandma.
Frank was still alive.
I get back to my grandma's house, knock on her door. Where's your dad? I'm crying.
Where's your shirt?
I'm crying, full tears. I'm just going inside the house. My mom come get me. Where's your shoes? What? So I go home.
Why did he take the shoes and the shirt and not the pants? That's so random. It's like, if I'm gonna take that, I'm taking everything. God got him. 2 months later, he went to jail. I've been in more alleyway ass beatings than most people have in their life. They got gangs out there, fades, Pomona. Yeah.
I
know Pomona. I used to live in Pomona.
Yeah, so it's been a lot. And what was you said?
Well, yeah, I mean,
have I fought my father? Yeah.
Have you fought your father?
Mm-hmm.
Because he sounds like a volatile man.
Yeah.
Sounds like Joe Jackson and Ike Turner mixed together. It's like,
yeah. So I was 13, and this situation happened because my brother threw a shot glass at me.
What are we doing?
So,
folks, what are we doing? What are we doing with our kids?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
He threw a shot glass at me, and I told my mom, and as a mom, you can't do too much after your sons get a certain age.
Right.
So she would call my dad, and my dad came over, and he's going off on my brother, and he says something to me, and now we're getting into it. And so, we're in my mom's living room. A 13-year-old and a 40-something just start fading. And, in my mom's living room. I wouldn't say we were the same. I say I'm probably 3 inches shorter than him. He's 5'7".
So if you've joined us for any of this episode, then you have laughed, you might have cried, you've had 100 questions, and many more questions to come with a whole lot of answers, I'm sure. But one thing is for sure, as I am a storyteller, so is this man. So, my God. So we got one last one for you of the many. We're going to have David come back so that he can share more with us as his world turns. But,
Yeah.
My producer, who's one of David's good friends, yelled out, or he didn't yell out, he put up on the board, let us hear the sprinkler story. So, David, as we get ready to wrap up this episode,
Yeah.
please share with us the sprinkler story.
Sprinkler story. Okay, so it's 7th grade, and me and my brother, we would stay at this after-school program in our middle school. So we get a call from our dad saying he's outside to pick us up. So he already got my sister, and so he's picked us up. It's 4-ish. I called my mom. I was like, weren't you supposed to pick us up? My dad's come picked us up. And she's like, okay, then I'll just head home. And I was like, are you going to take us back to mom's house or your house? Because we haven't gone back to his house in a minute. So I was like, that's a little weird. So he's like, I'm taking you to your mom's house. So he picked us up because he wanted to talk to my brother. Not really talk, but yell at him because he wasn't doing too good in school. So he's yelling at my brother the whole way home. And from my middle school to my house, it's like walking, it's like 10 minutes. Driving is like 2. So it's longer than a 2-minute drive. He takes the long way. He's stopping at every stop sign, every red light.
By the way, you're supposed to stop at stop signs. What they're called.
Stop. Yeah, he's sitting there extra long, letting cars pass. So he's going off on my brother because he wasn't doing well in school. So we finally get to my mom's house, and then we get out the car, but my dad also gets out the car. And so he's going off on my brother. He's like all in my brother's face, like pushing him and stuff, and saying everything under the world about someone who's failing a class. He's like, you're just gonna be done forever. So my brother keeps walking, and my mom comes to the door because she's hearing all this yelling. She's like, what's going on? And so my dad pushes my brother. My brother hits the ground, and we had this metal sprinkler, and it's like this big circle one, and the sprinkler was in the middle, and it did like a full 360.
And you put the water hose to it?
No, my brother picks it up and smacks it on my dad's head. Smacks his head. All you hear is a. It's nobody moves. Everybody's frozen. My dad head on. Motherfucker, you just hit me. Oh my! I'm sitting there. My sister's sitting there. My sister's crying. I'm like, what? What the hell is going on?
Wait a minute, what's your mama saying?
She just opened the door too. She just opens the door and sees my brother hit my dad on the head. So she knew it. She goes, whoa. So she was running out the house, has to stop them. She's like, Joshua, go in the house. And she sends my dad on his way. And it's like 4 o'clock. I'm like, man, this is So my mom's like, what happened? So I tell my mom what happened. And what led up to that was, the situation after that was, since it was in our front yard and people were coming home, my mom had to call CPS because she didn't want anyone else to. So CPS comes and it's like 2-3 months later. It's like 2-3 months later.
Never come
no, it's done. It's over with. So CPS is there, and they're like asking questions, and they get to asking me questions. So they're like, so did the situation unfold like this? But I'm sick at the time, so I have a stuffy nose. And the CPS lady is pressing me. She's like,
2 months later.
Yeah, she's like, so I can't hear what you're saying.
Wait, CPS takes 2 months.
Yeah.
To come and do a report on a story, and now they're aggressive.
Yeah.
2 months later.
Yeah.
They're aggressive. Okay.
Well, I can't hear you. I have a stuffy nose. You know, you got a stuffy nose, sore throat. You ain't talking too loud. You don't want to talk at all. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I can't really talk too well. And she's like, I can't hear you. I said, I have a stuffy nose. So that means you can't tell me what happened? I'm like, there's no way she's getting mad over me having a stuffy nose.
You didn't call nobody.
I didn't call you here. So they get the story. Nothing happens. And it would, him and my dad have like a little animosity toward each other for a little bit. But after that, there's really nothing.
Moral of the story, people. Leave the sprinklers on the ground, plugged up to water hoses, to do the job they were designed to do. David, this has been incredible, man.
Yeah.
Your storytelling, your stories have been something that I've been looking forward to for days. You did not disappoint. But on a serious note, I would be remiss if I did not highlight the fact that suicide and conversations about suicide were mentioned in this podcast. And as much as we have laughed and had a good time sharing stories and hoping that you've gotten something out of them, we want to make sure that you know that there are numbers that you can call if you're a person that's having thoughts of suicide. There are hotlines, there are websites, there are people that you can speak to help change your mind about what you're thinking about yourself as it pertains to harming yourself. Or if you know someone that's thinking about or has voiced that they want to harm themselves, get them some help. We'll make sure that the hotline number and information is on the screen at the end of the podcast. Listen, life interrupts us, and tonight, because it was today and it went into tonight, I can tell you that David's life has been interrupted quite a bit. But you know what? I'm impressed by this young man's poise, because it takes a lot of poise to navigate life. It takes a lot of poise and wisdom to dance around and navigate around the circumstances that will often show up at your front door unannounced. Kids were never the ones who invited trouble into their lives. We're born to human people who are frail and are not perfect, and all types of things happen as a result of that. So life continues to interrupt us, and that's okay. Just make sure that when life interrupts you, you get the last word. So David, thank you so much, my man, for coming. I appreciate you.
It was a pleasure being here.
Yes, sir, it was. I look forward to seeing what your life does and
Yeah,
the journey that
I had a great time.
I want to
Some
thank
great
the
laughs.
producer, a special shout out to the producer for dropping this gem on us today with his friend. This was an enlightening episode, I got to tell you.
Had a great time.
In terms of what I learned about how to navigate with my youngest son. And I hope that he heard, because he was here for some of it, I hope that he heard some things that helped him to navigate as well.
Yeah.
But appreciate you for coming, man, and I'm going to have you back real soon.
Nah, for sure.
Since you're talking about wanting to get into music and other things. Season 2 is all about the creatives. Yeah. So we definitely got to have you come back.
Nah, for sure.
Because by the time this episode is viewed, you might be a star. By the time season 2 comes, or your daddy is gonna whoop your ass in another.
I don't know. I don't know. He
He
can't do that no more. I got some height on him.
At least he'll try to get you in one.
Man,
Yeah. All right. Take a ride. Hey.
Yeah.
Listen. This is Life Interrupts Us, the podcast, and again, I'm honored to be your storyteller. I'm Stephen Wayne. Thank you again, David Lathan. It's not Lathan. It's not Lathan. David
Lathan. Thank you.
Thank you, David Lathan. I'm gonna cut that out.
Man.
This is another episode of Life Interrupts Us. I done messed up my man. But I
don't know if I'm coming back.
I want to thank David Lathan for coming and hanging out with us. And y'all be good to each other and be good to yourselves. We'll talk to you soon. So you've come to the end of another episode of Life Interrupts Us, the podcast, and I hope that you've been thrilled by the storytelling. I hope that you gained some insight from some of the guests. I hope that you have come away putting more value on your own stories. But let's be clear. Life interrupting us is not a random thing. Sometimes it's just the facts of life. Sometimes it's at the hands of someone else. Sometimes it's at the hands of ourselves. So whatever you decide to do, just make sure that you focus on being a victor and not a victim, that you focus on being an overcomer, that you focus on being the winner and not the loser of this game called life. Start telling your stories. I'm going to keep telling mine. I'm Stephen Wayne, and I'm honored to be your storyteller. This is the podcast where life interrupts us. So here's the thing. If you don't play, life wins. So let's play. Take care of yourself.